Hello, friends. It's your good buddy Stub from CorkandMe.com. Welcome to day 22 of the 2021 Cork and Me Adult Beverage Advent Calendar. Friends, I have a treat today. I have another friend joining me virtually. It is Carla Lauder, the beer babe herself. Carla, thanks for joining me again this year.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. We could do it virtually because you're all the way across the pond, but happy to be here.
Yeah, no, good to see you. And you're looking very festive, I might say.
Thank you. Pulled out all the glitter for you. Yep.
Cool. Well, let's get right to what we're drinking today. How about that? What do you have in your glass there?
Sure. So I have a beer from Banded Brewing Company up in Maine, because that's where I am located in, and it's called a Glow, and that's named after the Maine Botanical Gardens up in Booth Bay. They do this winter festivity where they light up the entire place. They call it Gardens Aglow, and this is kind of in collab or for them. And it is a stout with cocoa and peppermint in it. So I thought it would be just about as festive as I could get, especially around these parts. So cheers to that. What are you drinking?
How do you find it with the cocoa and peppermint in there?
It's less toothpastey than I was worried about. I've had some negative experience with peppermint and minted beers. Mint is a very delicate ingredient. A little goes a long way, and very often it's up to 11 and you don't need it. Still a little odd to put something like a mint into a stout, but I really like the chocolate notes on it. So I think as it warms up, it'll kind of even be more cocoa-like versus the kind of really cold right out of the fridge version that I have here.
Cool. All right. Interesting. Well, I am drinking also, as you can see, a dark beer. This is Christmas Porter with dark fruit, sweet plum, and chocolate, apparently.
Nice.
5.2 alcohol. Now, this is actually brewed for Sainsbury's, the supermarket here,
nice.
Which they have a lot of beer brewed and wine made for them as well, it appears. At least my almost daily trips there for the couple weeks I've been here. And on the nose, wow, I'm definitely getting that plum, which is kind of an odd thing in a porter, right? To kind of get that fruit out of there first thing.
Well, sometimes dark fruits can show up in certain beer styles, so it's not like a completely outside of beer flavor, but yeah, for a porter, that's unusual, but that sounds fun though. Kind of like a spicy Christmas pudding. Wow,
it is. And I gotta be honest, it's a lot less intense than I thought it would be. Like even on the nose, like it's definitely a porter. Just kind of that hint of fruit in there. Not a ton of spice, honestly, and a little bit of chocolate in there in mine as well. This is a nice little sipper right there.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And it's great that you could find something local too that you could
well, oddly enough, this is brewed in Belfast.
Okay, local-ish.
Yeah. Well, still the UK, I guess, right? So
it's still the UK.
There we
go.
But yeah, cool. So tell us how your year's been. Pretty good. Out and about a lot.
It's been right. Yeah. It's been a lot. We kind of went through the ups and downs of this whole, COVID situation. Like the summer felt like everything was kind of going back to the way that it was, and had a really just good beer experience all summer and all fall. A lot of the breweries getting back on their feet, opening. But even then, they opened these special outside places, and a lot of people made them permanent. So that's also very cool to have more outdoor spaces to chill, both in the summer and the fall, and some in the winter. It's kind of gets really cold here in Maine to do that like year round. But as things are getting a little bit more uncertain, we're all tightening a little bit back and kind of pulling back a little, I think, from some of the things that we had done. But in general, I still feel positive about kind of like what the beer industry did in Maine, how they got through this, how the state kind of supported them. So as a consumer of it, I've been really having a nice time kind of like trying to continue to support these breweries. I hate to think of the idea of another, kind of really, really tough winter for them. So I'm kind of got, all the fingers and toes crossed and supporting everybody I possibly can wherever I can go. But in general, just some really stellar beer releases this year, some really, a couple of good new breweries that have opened even in Maine, and just a lot going on that you wouldn't think, is a recovery year for something so disruptive.
Yeah, it's been cool to kind of, be a voyeur on your social media and see kind of some of the new beers you're tasting and getting back out, especially, as you said, especially in the summer, and supporting that local community, which I think is important for people. And I know, before I moved, I was trying to do the same thing with local breweries there.
I told people the first time around with the whole first summer of COVID that make a list of the breweries that you would cry if they were gone. and treat those like they are the only breweries on earth. Because like you can divide all your money all you want, but like if you have 3 that you would just be devastated if those people were no longer in business, just go, go ahead and kind of make those your go-tos. And, and so far knock wood, we've been okay-ish. I haven't had any of the ones on my list go under there, but just in general to support anything local as you can possibly do. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you're super local, but you're also, or you support super local, but you're also juiced in and knowledgeable of the industry itself. Are you seeing any kind of new trends that have developed? Or maybe will be coming on? Are we getting away from like the super juicy hazy IPAs?
Well, no, I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. So I have a couple of things. I have seen a few brewers, and I think it's because they're like my age, suddenly put out like retro West Coast IPAs. And I'm like, if they come back in any way, even if it's a tiny slice of the IPA spectrum that's on tap, I would be thrilled. Bring me back those sea hops. I want the Centennial and the Columbus. I want that that quintessential bitter West Coast IPA. You can see through it. Like, I miss those. But I have seen a couple of breweries, both locally and nationally, have put those back, like, hey, don't you miss these? And I absolutely miss those. So if you're listening, yes, more of that. Second, we're also seeing some really good, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but really good and really tasty non-alcoholic beer. Like, it tastes like beer now. And it's something that, if you want to mix it up with what you're drinking throughout the day, or as I was talking to somebody the other day, they said it's the brewery's motto for non-alcoholic brewery was, we want to be your favorite third beer. So like, go have your 2 and then have mine, when you're getting prepared to move on or go home. And it's kind of great because that, this is not your father's like non-alcoholic beer that tastes like crap. This is good stuff that tastes like IPAs and stouts and all this kind of stuff. So that's definitely a trend that's happening. And it's growing. Okay. And, but I will say that the fruity, milkshakey, whatever that is still going. I think some of those fruit flavors, though, are translating over into seltzer, because if you put those same fruit profiles into a seltzer, it's a less heavy beverage than the kind of thicker, kind of mouthfeel IPAs. So personally, I wouldn't mind if like the flavors shifted back into seltzer and then like beer went back to being a little bit more beerish, because you now have a delivery for all those creative flavors that you want to do, but you don't necessarily have to smash them with an IPA. Again, that might just show my age, because I love those West Coast IPAs, and I love the beer that tastes like beer. But those are definitely some of the things I'm seeing. And also, just in general, I've also had a couple of really good stouts this year again. Like, I think for a while people stopped making them because they're hard or they weren't as popular, and they're kind of, I think they were missed. So I think they're coming back now, because it was really hard at least 2 years ago or 2-3 years ago to find a stout on tap anywhere. And it's becoming much more easy to do so in the last, I would say, about 8 months. I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm here for it. And obviously, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. And I'll say here, and once again, I've only been here in the UK a couple of weeks. I was quite surprised, and I knew from a few friends who either traveled here or who had lived here, that there's a big craft brew scene here as well in the UK, especially in London. And I was quite surprised. And as we were kind of going back and forth deciding what to drink, I think last year we drank the same beer when we got together virtually for this. And, a little harder to do this year. And we were talking about styles, but looking stylistically, just at, the few places I can go in, IPAs are huge here. That is probably, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, in the store that's closest to us, it's probably, I'm going to go like 70% of the shelf space is some kind of IPA. And there's a lot of West Coast IPAs in there as well, specifically. So that's good. I agree with you on getting back to that. Like, kind of being a bit of a hotbed. There used to be a saying, and in Virginia, as far as wine, if you go to a winery and the Viognier is bad, leave, because nothing else is going to be good. I'm kind of the same way when I go to a brewery. I'm like, I get maybe in a tasting order, I shouldn't start with an IPA if I'm going to try some other styles, but I'm like, if this IPA is bad, maybe the rest of it's not going to be great. Like, are they going to do a great lager if they don't do a great IPA? and I know they're different styles and whatever, but yeah, I love the fact that we're getting some of those kind of cleaner, drier IPAs coming out. And I look forward
you really are in the, like, you know, the mothership, the birthplace of the IPA. So like,
yes.
I'm pleased to hear that that's such a popular style over there. Although it is funny that the West Coast, like, you know, it's like a boomerang. It bounced over to us and it bounced back to them. But you know, all that Burton-on-Trent water and all the history of IPA there, you know, it's just got to be a kind of a fun, different landscape to kind of navigate, because they have a totally different history of this than we do.
Oh yeah, I'm totally looking forward to trying, you know, as many of these as I can. Not necessarily in a row, but you know, over time. Getting to the kind of the birthplace of IPA, which is kind of cool. All right. So you don't have to tell us exactly Christmas plans with this next question, but I think yesterday I was talking about, you know, Christmas traditions, and I think the last couple of years those have changed a bit for some people and had to adapt. But is there a favorite like Christmas tradition that you're like, it's not Christmas or the season unless I do this?
Well, for me, it's definitely a baking type of thing. Like there's these cookies that are Italian cookies. They're called pizzelles. They're these flat waffle cookies that like anise flavoring in them. And I only make them once a year. And that's when I make them for is Christmas. They take forever. They're labor intensive because basically you take the batter and you put it in this little waffle iron. And it takes like 2 minutes per pair of cookies. And the batter recipe, because it's Italian and you never feed like only 2 people when you're doing Italian stuff, is it will make 12 dozen of them. So you have to spend like all day opening and shutting and kind of like, cycling through these cookies. The whole house smells like, you know, anise flavoring and Christmas. And that to me is something that I can do whether I'm seeing people in person or just dropping off little packages of those cookies at the people that I can't see in person. So it's kind of a unifying thread through most of my Christmases. I'm not a huge baker in general. Like I don't like do crazy cakes and cookies and whatnot, but I got the like secret recipe from my Italian grandma, and I'm the keeper of the recipe, and I make it for everybody every year. So it's nice. Kind of it, so it's fun. We're going to go see my husband's parents and husband's grandparents over Christmas. So I'll be bringing those to both, but just in general, that's kind of the consistent thing that's gone through. And over the years, it's just become a really fun thing to do.
Cool. Well, apropos of nothing you've said, it just occurred to me, and I just want to say it out loud so I remember. I totally forgot to send you my new mailing address. That's apropos of nothing you said about these magnificent cookies you make once a year.
I'll put an extra fragile on them, though, because they'll end up in shards. They'll still taste good, but they might end up in shards. Yeah.
Yeah, so you talk about that. For me, one thing, and it's happened over the last several years, is making fudge. And the fudge gifting and making at one point got way, way, way out of hands to the point where there were 110 to 120 pounds of fudge being produced.
Oh my gosh!
In the house,
do you even store that much? Wow!
And then sent hither and yon across the country.
Do you do all the same flavor, or do you do different flavors?
Yeah, it's generally just chocolate fudge. No nuts, you know, to get around allergies for certain people, and you never know where it's going to end up once you send it to certain places or whatever. So just pretty basic, but I will say, you know, each batch of that fudge makes about, I think it comes out to about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. So you could imagine, you know, hand stirring 50 plus batches of fudge.
Tough too. That's like arm muscle. Like that's arm muscle building. For me, it's just lifting a lid of a little waffle iron, but it is repetitive. So it's.
And what's ridiculous is this is the time of year. Normally, I would also get a new set of like work gloves to the garage because I didn't need anything super heavy with what I did, but kind of lightweight work gloves, and I would buy those that way I could use them making fudge because you will develop a blister.
Oh, I bet. Yep.
Stirring all day, doing that. You know. I guess it's the hazards of being nice. But so we made some fudge before I left for a small group of people, and we'll be making some actually today and tomorrow.
Nice.
We'll be making a little bit of fudge to deliver to the few people I've met so far here. So nice. Well, cool. All right, friends, you've listened to this. Go ahead and let's go ahead and drop some comments on Christmas traditions, and maybe if you've had to change it a little bit, tell us how you've done that to keep your season going. All right, Carla.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I got nothing else. I'm going to sign us off, and then we can sit around and finish our beer and chat.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Cool. All right, friends. Thanks for joining me, Carla. Thanks for doing this again. Always
Absolutely.
lovely catching up with you in public. That's a good way to do it, in front of a lot of people. But yeah, thanks for joining me, friends. Thanks for joining and sharing and commenting and doing all the things. And until tomorrow, be nice, be safe, and be happy.
Cheers.
Cheers.